Good evening, everybody, and welcome here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So here we are with the late night version of metal. Yes, this was supposed to actually come out at 11 o'clock. However, had visitors that took my time up, and I couldn't get to the video. It was a little bit of an unexpected visit, so I had planned to go and do the video, and then they showed up, and then I had to wait, and now they're gone, and so here I am doing it. So for metal this week, as you know, what we normally do is I choose a band to talk about a little bit about their history, a little bit about the members of the band, maybe a little bit about the music, well, more than a little bit about the music, and just go over how I feel about the band and all that kind of stuff. So this week it's the newer bands. So bands have been released that haven't been around for more than 10 years or so. Usually I do one for 10 years and older and one for 10 years and newer. So we're doing the one 10 years and newer. And I chose a band that actually only has one studio album. They're fairly new. Studio album came out in, let's put my glasses on so I can review my notes that need to be reviewed. So the studio album came out November 1st, 2019. So about 4 years ago. So a little bit about this band first before we go. So they're a doom metal band. This is my first doom metal band. I wasn't sure. Like, I'm learning what death metal is and what black metal is and what doom metal is. These are all different categories of metal. For those of you who know metal, this is nothing new to you. So this is my first doom metal band. I don't really know what to expect here. But I actually like this quite a bit, and I think it's because it reminds me of some of Black Sabbath stuff. And I think that's probably where this form of metal came from. So I'm just speculating, but that's what it sounds like to me. So the band is called Silvertomb. Formed in 2019. And so basically this is a band that's from Brooklyn, New York. The members, they are the members that formed from, so these are the bands that they all came from. So one is Typo Negative, The Inhuman, Agnostic Front, and Empyrean. So these band members all came from those bands initially. And then they released their first full-length solo album, which is The Edge of Existence, on November 1st, 2019. So the band members include Kenny Hickey on lead vocals and lead guitar, Hank Kell on bass, Sorry, I'm past my bedtime, everybody. Hank Hell on bass, I meant to say. It came out as a K instead of an H. Johnny Keller on drums, Joseph James on guitar, and Aaron Jews, I think it's Joe's, maybe, keyboards and guitars as well. So you got three guys kind of play guitar here at different points. There's a fair bit of acoustic guitar on this album, which kind of really surprised me. I didn't expect to hear any of that. A little bit of acoustic guitar on several tracks. There's some keyboards. There's some piano even, and organ, all mixed in at different points. The music tends to be a little bit slower, more methodic, more melodic, like you would get from some of that older Black Sabbath stuff. It also has a kind of, so you got your heavy, really heavy parts. Like when I say heavy, it's very heavy. And you have your interludes of more quieter, somber, gentler sounds, more maybe. The guy's voice is excellent, very clear sounding vocals. Can hear every word he's saying. I have no problem understanding what he's talking about. The subject matter that they tend to sing about is, of course, dark and heavy and doomy. There were 2 videos, I believe, I think they were pretty much the same, actually. So the Edge of Existence, which is the title of the album. So it starts out with there's 9 tracks. Sorry, I forgot to write that down. 9 tracks. It starts out with a song called Insomnia Sunrise. It's a very slow, melodic, heavy song with some real raunchy parts. So the vocals are really clear and the lyrics are easily discernible. There's no problem understanding what he's saying. Very heavy riffing. This was one of the videos where it's like almost like a priest or a disciple of some sort standing on a hill with all kinds of acolytes around him, and he gets one of them come up, and then the next thing they all take a pill and they turn into like wolves, and it looks like wolves and deer, or wolves and maybe pronghorn or something of that sort. And then he lies down and they pull him across them, and eventually they pull him apart, which is kind of weird, but very doomy, very apocalyptic feeling to it. So that's my first experience with doom metal on that track. So as it went along, I began to get kind of understanding of what was going on. So the next song out is called Love You Without No Lies. Another heavy riffing song. Openings, very heavy piano with a guitar riff, and then it just really gets very heavy melodic, almost Sabbath sounding in its music for that particular tune. I actually like that tune quite a bit. It was probably I gave 3 songs a 7, which I didn't think I would give any, and I gave 3 of them, and one of them a 7.5. So this was one of those. The next song is So True. Nice piano opening here. Reminds me a bit of the TV or television series called Westworld, which the remake, not the original, in which there's that piano-y part at the beginning, which is really kind of dark feeling, and that's exactly what I feel like. It almost reminds me perfectly of that. Really good song, though. Next one, Not Your Saver, an acoustic opening. Then it gets very dark and heavy riffing, and then heavy drums as well. One of You, which is the next track, very dark and heavy guitar riffing as well. Then you get Rite of the Passage and Crossing Over. That's the next tune. Another very heavy melodic and heavy drum part. Very dark subject matter here. So those 3 songs, pretty indiscernible. They're all fairly similar. If you like that heavy, doomy, slow, melodic, crunching guitar sounds, beefy guitar sounds, you will really like these 3 tracks, I think. The next track out, so for me, the last 3 songs, usually with a lot of these bands, is that by the time I get to the last 3 tracks, if I don't really like this kind of music, I'm like hard-pressed to really listen hard. This is actually the best part of the album. The last 3 tracks, I think, are the best on the album, other than Love You Without Lies. Without No Lies, sorry. This is called Ecology and Requiem. Kind of a spacey but dark kind of opening. Almost a little bit of that Electric Funeral sound. Not so much like that, but there's a little bit of it. There's a hint of it here. And then it has some acoustic and a solo part that is really melodic, but the solo part is really good. Similar, I think, it's guitar solo, although it doesn't really sound like David Gilmour. It's very much in that kind of mode. The last 2 tracks, Sleeping on Nails and Wine, which is kind of a funny title for a song. But this one is very different, not like anything else on the album. It's all acoustic, very mellow. Vocals are very easy to understand. And there's also some kind of a harmony vocal part here too, which has surprised me. I didn't expect to see that on a doom metal album. But a very different song. I did like it a lot, though. It's a short song too. It's only about 1.5 minutes or so. And then the last track, which is Waiting. This is a faster paced acoustic part. So it starts out with this heavy acoustic part, It's a little faster sped up than a lot of their other songs. The vocals are very clear, high pitched. You got that really, towards the end of the song, gets this very heavy, fast paced electric guitar part. So this is a little bit faster than the rest of the album. So the last 3 tracks are kind of different from the rest of the album, in my opinion. The rest of the album is this melodic, doomy, crunchy, heavy, over the top kind of metal with clear vocals. In the last 3 tracks, you've got one of them's kind of a spacey sound. The next one is kind of a very soft acoustic bit, and then the last one kind of a sped up metal sound to it. So a little bit of a variety on this album, more than I would have expected. Most of the metal bands that I've listened to tend to stick to one particular sound. If they're progressive metal, they have a lot of that symphonic keyboard and progressive sound to their music. If they're death metal, it's usually fast paced and heavy drums and sometimes death growls. And then with this, you're getting I've got a lot of feeling that it was a more melodic, crunching album, but there are some differences on some of the songs. So very enjoyable album. If you haven't heard of this band, and I'm sure that if you're a metal fan you have, Silvertomb is the name of the band. This is a good, solid album. I think this is an album I would buy. If I see it, I will buy it. I like it. It's pretty heavy, but falls well within the range of music that I liked when I was younger as well. So Edge of Existence is the name of the album, released on November 1st, 2019. I hope you enjoyed this episode of metal, and I do apologize for the lateness of it. However, you can't turn people away at the door when they're there, right? So have to be the social graces, and I'm sure an extra hour at this time of night isn't going to make any difference. So, you got any comments about this particular band or any other doom metal bands that you think maybe would be good for me to listen to? Please put them in the comments below. I'd like to explore this particular genre a lot more. I think it will be a genre that will bring metal to the forefront for me. So if you want to put that in the comments below, that'd be great. And I thank you. So please like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. And we will be back. I guess it'll be in 2 weeks with another episode of metal. At that point in time, metal may be alternating with some other show on a different night. That's what I'm hoping. One of my shows is probably going to come to an end after this week coming. Another one's not going to be too far behind it. And then we're going to restructure a bit and have a couple of new type of shows coming out that make more sense for me and this channel than some of the stuff that I have been doing. I like to explore a lot of different venues and see how I feel about them before I just cast them off as, no, that's not for me. I may actually do a pop show at some point too, but not at the moment. So we will see. Anyways, I hope you enjoy this, and we will see you next time on Metal. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you then. Goodbye and good night.